Well, and it's here now because we brought it.
Here's the thing, if you were dressed like that and it was at a dress,
I just don't take pictures of
I know.
I think that's great. I just asked him because I don't want to go. You're okay.
Your comment last week.
It's soccer on a basketball. You're actually pretty bodacious.
I almost said what? Is that a good job? I said we should hang out.
Yeah. And then I started naming places. And then you're like, it's, I'm going to weekend. Stop.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know that was a set thing when we were going to do that. Because I just was putting up ideas. But like, it would be, I don't care. As long as I know.
I thought you'd like it.
Yeah, we're pretty good. It's just hard to hang out since he's in high school and I'm I wanted to do that little
Every time she asks me for like picks me up and she makes herself party by like leaving and then inviting everybody else. And then she kicks me, right? So I stopped playing with Victoria. And pretty soon she keeps like every time I open her, she goes back and she's like, "Mother, please don't forget me." I'm like, "Okay, I do." And then she keeps kicking me. So this time, it's unfair because I want her, recorded her all the time. I literally changed her entire TikTok on how to get men. So,
Victoria, what did you do to her?
she keeps kicking me off of so
Oh.
wait, we should do that.
Oh, we're gonna take over from here. Thank you.
Yeah. Easier to kick out now. Has anyone made anything?
Not yet.
Okay, can we? Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I think we restart.
No. How do we normally start? We just add some themes. No, me and Mike just play. Yeah, so me and Micah versus Alan and Aiden. The short versus the tall. Okay.
That's
you know what? I should be offended, but I'm not.
Yeah, take culturally.
Like, are you stripes or not stripes?
I'm not. I haven't made anything.
Are you trying to go for?
I don't know why you trying to go for both.
Like on the table that way?
Just this? I don't
Yeah,
think so.
Let's go with it. Just go.
Oh no.
Like over here and go like this.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So Alan, I'll go and then I'll build Judah and that.
I wonder what those holes in the roof are from. Probably not these then.
What does that work? No one had a ball yet. Oh, so you're right. Yeah. Judah, how do you feel about the junior high being black high school? How do you feel? How do you feel about that? What? The junior high.
I'm pretty happy.
Really?
Because my mother's happy because now she can watch over all of
I
us.
just put chest control.
I don't actually know. She's just my chest.
Oh.
He's between all the stripes or solid.
Are you stripes?
really bad. Oh. So you go in there, right?
Micah, I'm gonna give you a lesson, okay? You take that thread out, you make the hole. You put the stick through the hole. You go like this. In and out. Slowly getting faster.
I need this. Let me hit the jack.
On there. Are we not gonna?
Oh, Aiden, that's not
You
a
have to
place.
time it right.
Oh, I'm not timing it right.
Or the game.
Alan, get your team out of here, Chad.
You know what? Well, I'll do. Aiden.
Maybe I'm the one scoring.
Aiden.
Yeah.
Counting.
Like it's happening. Happening with Empire.
What?
I need your phone, bro.
It's so cool.
Use your phone.
That was the wrong one. This is the thing to laugh. Wait, just cheated. Hey, thanks. No, back to I don't need it. Oh, no. I do actually. I forgot.
How's that age for a kid your size?
Judah?
Probably not.
You're right.
Delete.
Okay, so who am I going for? Judah, I also have to try the futsal.
You did it right. You did it right.
You did it right.
Because you did it right. Mike, we're going for solid. No.
Let's go. Dude, see that one I committed? And out.
Oh, we got it. Then you have to score 5 balls.
This is a really good stream. I love this stream.
So Alan's character.
One time I did a few minutes, so I almost did it. Wait, what's this?
Off the wall back shot.
Oh, I thought that. I ordered
So, how did I get more high schoolers?
Wow, it's crazy.
I thought we had graduates.
That's what I thought too.
You know, Jared's not sick anymore.
No, he's not.
He's like in the high school room and everything.
But if I said
I've actually tried to make that I can't have it on my system.
I don't know if Don't miss.
Well, you definitely made me this. So,
Well, what is this?
what is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Stop saying.
I don't know. That's a pretty good song.
No.
How? I
Micah,
literally
Micah,
touched it.
Micah, you're up.
Good.
Should I say
Micah. Micah.
You had 7 on.
Micah, hit the orange ball right there.
Wait a minute.
Right there.
That's not a rolling TV.
It's not a roll up a lens. Did you see at CES the wall of transparent TVs?
Bro! Oh, I wanted to make that one.
But
Wait, we gotta go in here.
Michael, when it's your turn, if none of us has made that red ball in, you gotta make it in.
I'd rather play games.
Yeah, but dude, he doesn't know any better.
You're up, Aiden.
No, wait.
Hold on.
Doesn't work. I thought I missed, I'm leaving. I'm like literally running downstairs.
Come on, hit in, out. W.
Now watch this. I hit the ball.
Did you?
No, the airbrush passed the ball.
I think it's called a scratch when you don't hit it.
No, I know he hit the ball. Just like barely, you know?
A whisper.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's like mineral water. It just has the whisper out of it.
I think I was
Said
No, that's it.
Someone in the room next door.
And it made the ball move.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
Dang it.
So we're losing. Dude, I think you've been losing for like the last 2 hours.
My team
I wasn't going for the Shrek one.
No, you can't.
You made really good.
So am I. You're a hater.
How do you? I don't even know.
I have no idea. I don't know what happened there.
They hit the ball like this, and then like carried it.
I was like, no.
I was like dribbling the.
Should we go the black ball?
Okay, set up for you out. Okay, Mike.
Yes, Micah. Yes.
Go for orange, Micah. Don't go for solid.
No, go for strikes. Go for strikes. Yeah. He's on Judah's team, but he's on mine at the same time.
See, he doesn't know whose team he's on.
Yeah, I forgot. It was
No,
just
so he
like
doesn't know that he's on my team.
I thought you was lying to me when you said go for the dark strike.
But then I also, Micah just believes me.
Yeah, I just really
Micah, the earth is flat.
Oh yeah.
How does that even make sense?
I think it's like literally like bounce on the air. The earth was flat during
The other day, oh
lessons.
my gosh,
I feel like
Aiden, you know what Elena said the other day? I said something about the code and she goes, rose before pose. She's 6! Well, she got it right.
if the minis are the
I don't know. I don't even say that.
For checks.
No, Mike is. It's a 1v3 right now.
That's his.
You missed.
Wait, what?
I'm 1v3 and this game hates me.
Can I see your wrist for a second?
I don't have any of my screeches right now.
That one.
She's like kidding you.
Which one?
That one.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no. You're in
Wait,
jail.
it's that one?
Oh, that one?
The middle one.
I saw you a minute ago.
Go over here and
I saw
separate
you.
the
Don't
I
be
just
asleep.
moved the entire white ball.
I'm so
Yeah,
confused.
I'm twisted now. I'm thinking enough.
This corner pocket.
Nope, nope.
Why don't you just hit
Oh,
all of
that
that?
one.
I've been on the slave train. Whoops.
One button, my God.
Alright,
Stop button.
I better literally just dump up.
I'll put some blue card because the blue card is cool.
I'm gonna play with you.
Sure. Wait, is that the magic school bus in the back?
Okay, we gotta go.
Grandpa, that's the.
We have to win really quick.
Move that stick.
Well, it's like, let's do battle royale.
Wait, go back.
Wait, do you string your
No, do battle royale.
Do you get any views?
W, I'll play fourth player. I'll play fourth player. Daniel, I'll play
now. Now you're playing?
Yes. Wait, this is unfair because he just took the ball.
Yeah. It's your turn.
Yeah, it's.
Now I understand why people say.
Wait, you have to join first. Cancel. You have
Bro,
to join.
what's going on?
Just hit B or A or something. B or A.
Can we just play?
Judah, I didn't press.
No, I'm not. Don't worry.
Damn.
Judah, how do you manage to lose like that? How do you even do
Pumpkin
that?
truck.
It won't work.
Empty trick.
Oh wait, no.
Wait, I kind of want that machine.
Alpinist.
So wait, A is
What's an alpha?
successful.
It's a car.
Alchemist, it makes things out of things.
Oh.
So two humans make up.
It's a good piece. That piece, you take that back. That's a satisfying noise.
Okay, I'm. Oh, wait, there's
Yeah, me too.
Bro.
It's always phenomenal. We have to get. I died right before the checkpoint. This is my life. This is my.
Well, look, you still live this long.
actually mine. Do you remember? No, that was
Drinks for us?
not cool.
Also broke my entire.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I like that. Okay, guys. Let's get it.
No, I just won.
I'm about to win this.
Bro,
Just my life in some distance.
Micah,
Hey, Blue, you should pick a piece.
Micah, choose a piece.
Go, Blue.
Oh. Okay, choose that piece then.
Not all
Actually,
pieces are gonna go
it's in
there.
here.
Oh yeah, actually,
Like this one.
you're low enough.
What about?
Yeah, someone put a piece in. Judy, that's your red. You're holding the spot. Push the button there.
I'll just put my piece in. Wait, so what did you say?
Maybe you have
Why would
Yeah.
Why would you even try?
So that's a question. Oh my god, my life. Judah. Oh, the China. No, I'm
Oh yeah.
We're all.
me, everybody, me.
Yeah, I think if you made.
This is
Micah, we
No, like because it's a Steam game, so just use your Steam goal.
so
And like, they didn't put it.
not Hey, mommy. Mommy, do we have plans this week?
I'm pretty sure it's this. Oh god, it's the worst. It's so crazy. Someone plays something. Someone push the button. Literally. So you're dying.
Oh,
Got it.
Hey! Now it's time. got this.
Why is my
What? Oh, okay.
Pumpkin truck lose. Pumpkin truck barely lose.
Bro, what? I'm a believer.
Yeah.
No, I.
Oh, no. Who got that? You guys are on top of each other.
I was first because I was on the bottom. Wait. Oh, Daniel.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Oh, it's got it.
You know what you should do?
There's no
By
way.
50 points.
There's no way.
W.
That was
You know
so
what
good.
you
Wait,
should do,
hold on,
Daniel?
Alright, who lost? Was it Micah?
Aiden.
No, I basically won.
He got second place.
Well, me and him.
For last? Or you can both be a controller. That was better with 2 hands.
Wait, that would actually be pretty cool though. If you could just like, oh wait, are there only 2 controllers?
That's all we're going for.
No, but who got
Micah,
last?
hand him your controller.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Oh, Daniel, what's the pumpkin shot?
No, I was the Tomcat, but then I got to shoot
Look at my car. Well, listen.
I'm a silver car. Also, what are we playing?
We're playing Fortnite.
Bro,
Because I put on so many traps.
I'm so
No, traps and it's like Mario Kart.
That looks like Mario
That's a-
Kart
that's a
stuff.
fight.
So, Micah, maybe don't do that actually.
Oh, it's that little small piece that doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
It's a ramp. And for
It's small.
it's gonna send you to like back,
Oh.
which is what you did.
Wait, why is there like Mario Kart things?
Why have more than one blocker?
Wait, do I have more than one ramp? No.
Sidewalls?
Oh, Daniel thinks he's smart. Because there's no sidewalk.
Of course not blue anymore. Bro, this track is so let's go.
That's a really bad start, guys. You made it so hard.
Hey, I got 0 points and Aiden got 350.
Justice.
I barely even played that round. No,
So I assume the fan blows you off.
That's
Yeah.
a color. Yeah, fan blows you up. It's
Fans do.
Actually, fans are not supposed to blow you off.
yeah. You have a fan you can put anywhere.
Shoot
Put
a
it on the
no.
little white dot.
Shoot it,
See
no,
the
it's
white
not a
dot?
good
The white
idea.
dot and the fan up on the side.
Oh.
You see the white dots? That's where tracks can go. That way you get.
Bye.
Okay. Oh
Bye.
no! And it's all codes there. There's no.
Going to die. Oh yeah, we should look slower. No, so if we go slower, we look better.
At least that's.
I'm the one keeping
Hey,
you in the race.
Hey, Jared came to get us. We're like the last.
Why? Why? No!
These two are hard.
Oh yeah, because I mean,
I'm at 0.
Nobody got any other checkpoint.
yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and cut there.
Oh, yeah.
Time for high schoolers to get. Everyone else grab a Bible.
That's you, Alan.
High schoolers.
Sorry.
I'm not.
Yeah, bye, high schoolers.
Bye, Alan.
Bye.
You have to leave. You're in high school.
I'm not in high school.
Judah, you should just kidnap Alan. Meat.
I'll let you get that.
Beef. Beef. Oh crap. Futsal. You ever play futsal?
It's like hard ground soccer.
Micah,
Futsal is ready.
Soccer?
Micah, do you want a Bible?
Yeah, could you give me a photo of
Okay.
it? What it is?
Michael, where are you going?
I was listening, Micah. Futsal. Not futsal, futsal.
Isn't that cure-all cream for feet?
It's it's like soccer on a basketball court.
Is that Aztec one?
Yeah.
Wait, seriously?
Good job, Alan.
She said something about her not rolling her shirt.
All right, someone heard the instructions wrong because now there's Bibles on
I wouldn't
seats.
be shocked. Oh, that was me and Micah.
I said get a chair, get a Bible, not like put a Bible on a chair.
Oh.
I know that's really similar.
We have a smaller group today.
It is constantly shrinking. Because everyone goes to main service without you.
Yeah, have you not noticed that it's very, very small every single Sunday? Like
Well,
Sundays are
I-
just shrinking. What?
Do you think?
Oh, hey, mommy, are we doing anything this week? Like important or like needed
Yes.
for the body?
Yeah.
Wait, what? For the body?
Does he mean like Christians or does he mean like physicality?
I think he's being physical.
No, I'm just-
Wait, are we in Matthew or?
Second Chronicle.
Okay.
Girl, you got.
No, because it's Good Friday.
Explanation.
It's not. It's Sunday, as it
Oh
turns
no,
out.
because my
Palm Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Micah, do you think?
Good Friday, Palm Sunday. So what's the difference?
So you
I'm in
see,
high school. You
P,
had to go in
wait.
there. You were
What?
going to.
I saw
Good
you
Friday,
at
Palm
Costco.
Sunday. What's the
Wait, A, B, C, D, E,
Hey, mommy, am I allowed to
F, G.
go on maid when I want to?
HIJK?
See?
Rejection.
Elemental.
So you see, G is closer than A than P is. So like, I mean,
Carry the 4.
2 plus 2
And
is
that
actually
is
6.
how we make
What the-
fusion stable.
Why are we learning
There we
about
go.
that?
We figured
Why
it
did you
out.
just
Good
shut
job,
my bag?
everyone.
I'm so smart.
Can all go home happy.
Oh my goodness.
That was already on the floor. I just picked it up and threw it. out.
Fusion was already on the floor.
Doesn't make you lit.
That was already.
need to
That
litter.
makes
Black piece of thing.
Alright.
I put my phone in the bucket because every time you would
Okay,
steal my
put it in.
phone and try and touch
Ladies and
Put
gents,
it in my mouth.
No.
can I remind you
You
once again
did.
to sign up for the cook-off?
Why do I need to sign up though?
Because you can cook.
No, I can't.
Oh, never mind.
No, that's part of you.
If I went there,
No.
you'd probably
Can I
just
remind you,
get,
ladies and gentlemen, once again to sign up to work at the cook-off?
everyone's gonna get like a
Because-
block.
because you
I'm
can't
going to high
cook.
school.
Because you can't cook.
I'm going to high school camp, not middle school camp. But
Well, fine. Then go find a 5th grader, kidnap them.
I
and
will.
Tell
Thank you.
they sign up.
I know a
To
fifth
work at the
grader.
cook-off.
She's on my soccer team. Like, hey,
There you go.
cook. It's like pretty.
You just tell her, I'm kidnapping you, but I'm gonna let you cook.
Yeah, but she's probably willing to do that.
After I do some things.
All right.
After when something's
The
happening.
chapter we're looking at today is not a great chapter, but it is a really good learning experience.
Good one.
So the lesson today is call on God's mercy, or you'll end up with His fairness. And that is meant to be comedic, but you might not get it yet, and that's okay. We'll get there. So yeah, Second Chronicles has been a history book of all the different kings. It was really funny. Jane came out of bed late last night as I was reviewing and updating some slides, and she saw not this one, the one after this, as she was like walking past this one, and she said, "Why do you have that slide up every day?" And I said, "Not every day. It's every week. Honey. It's every week." She's like, "Why do you have that slide up every week?" And I was like, "Because we're moving really slowly through the timeline." And I tried to explain the timeline to her, and I don't think timelines are something she's really had a lot of experience with. So she started to think that, like, where they were on the timeline, like, just like that he was lower down than him, meant that they ruled in a different place. Because all the books she's ever read with, like, kings, you're in one point in time in the book, and there's kings of different places. And, like, that's how the book works. You move throughout the different lands from king to king. But you're always in this time. And I was like, no, that's not actually how it works. The different spots on the screen aren't different places. And I realized, like, actually, it's exactly what it is. It's just there's only 2 places. But generally speaking, there's not different places. And so she was really confused. So I was just going to double check. Do you guys understand how timelines work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not Jen.
That, like,
Do you?
left is old and
Yes.
right is new, and how big this thing is how long they were in service, how long they were doing that job.
All the kings are in.
Okay, just thought I should double check that it's not wildly confusing to anyone, because I never did label it. I just verbally label it. Like, does everyone know where the prophets are? Which ones are prophets and which ones are kings? Yeah, so like I sometimes forget that I don't really say that stuff every week, and so I'm not sure how many people get that part. Yeah, Alan?
The prophets are the people in the middle.
That's right. So these are prophets all through here. Elijah, Elisha, Jonah, Hosea, Obadiah, Joel, Amos, Micah, Isaiah, Nahum, Zephaniah, Habakkuk, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
That's actually the book of Lamentations, not the person called Lamentations. That'd be weird if someone named their kid Lamentations.
Watch me.
Daniel, Ezekiel, Zechariah, and Haggai. This isn't all the prophets, though. There were like a lot of other prophets. These are just the prophets that are really big parts of the story. But God had other prophets. Some of them we don't even know the names of. They're in the story as a group of prophets in some cases. Other ones we've been hearing about in the past couple weeks have names, but they're in like one chapter in the whole Bible. They don't have a huge part in the story. They deliver one message. Today we finally are going to get to Elijah actually entering into the story. He's been a huge part of the story off in the northern kingdom, but our book we're in, 2 Chronicles, has not been focusing on that northern kingdom. We've been primarily focusing on the kings down in the south. And so today we're going to look at Jehoram. And Jehoram did stuff bad enough that it warranted a prophet from the north writing him a letter. So he actually gets a letter from Elijah in the northern kingdom. Elijah's been working almost entirely, like most of his life, on King Ahab. One of the worst kings in the whole history of both north and south kingdoms. Ahab is just absolutely the worst. And as it turns out, Jehoram actually learns some stuff from Ahab and starts copying him. And so God goes ahead and calls on Elijah to write him a letter, which I think is very appropriate because Elijah's had to deal with a lot of those same evils. So, anyways, there's your timeline. These guys in the middle are all prophets. These guys at the bottom are all the kings of the southern kingdom. These guys are all the kings of the northern kingdom. Just in case that was confusing you up till now, I apologize. So, read with me chapter 21, verses 1 through 7. When Jehoshaphat died, he was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. Jehoshaphat was a really good king. We learned about him the last couple weeks. Then his son Jehoram became the next king. Jehoram's brothers, the other sons of Jehoshaphat, were Azariah, Jehiel, Zechariah, Azariah, Michael, and Shephatiah. All these were the sons of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. Their father had given each of them valuable gifts of silver, gold, and costly items, and also some of Judah's fortified towns. They got like a position as like a general or a mayor, something along those lines, like a mini king, sort of a prince. But when Jehoram had become solidly established as king, oh, I skipped, sorry. However, he designated Jehoram as the next king because he was the oldest. But when Jehoram had become solidly established as king, he killed all his brothers and some of the other leaders of Judah. Jehoram was 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years. But Jehoram followed the example of the kings of Israel. Now that's key. Israel. Does anyone remember what Israel is?
It's a
Country.
It's a place, it's a country. Okay, so critically, as we're reading through these kinds of verses in this book, Israel is being used of the northern kingdom. They're not calling the southern kingdom Israel anymore. They're calling it Judah. Now, the south is actually all the people in the tribe of Simeon living inside the land of Judah with the tribe of Judah, and a separate piece of land that's much, 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 much smaller where the tribe of Benjamin lives. All that lumped together. It's like 3 tribes on 2 plots of land. Judah, though, is like 12 times bigger than Benjamin in land mass. So they call the whole area collectively Judah, which is weird. It's like if California and Oregon decided to split off from the country and we called it California.
Oh.
Right? Like, that's weird. Why would you call it California still if we took
California
Oregon with us? It'd be super strange. But that's essentially what they did. Judah split off and took Benjamin with them, but they called it Judah. Because reasons. So that's what they're calling it. So when it says he followed after the kings of Israel, they're not talking about the whole country for the whole span of time. Like back here where you've got Saul and David and Solomon, who also ruled the kingdom of Israel. They're talking about the northern kingdom called Israel. Notice that every single king up here was a bad king. It just kind of keeps getting worse. So when it says that Jehoram took after the kings of Israel, it's saying like we've had some good ones in a row here. We've had Asa and Jehoshaphat. But Jehoram wasn't going to be like that. Jehoram is going to break from the way that Asa and Jehoshaphat ruled, and he's going to rule like these kings. Not great. Not great. Because he's the king down here in Judah. Okay, sorry, back into the text. Verse 6, but Jehoram followed the example of the kings of Israel, and was as wicked as King Ahab, for he had married one of Ahab's daughters. I don't know if you recall, but this is one of the only big mistakes that Jehoshaphat made, is he tried to make a political alliance, the last king, tried to make a political alliance with the northern kingdom, so he had one of Ahab's daughters marry his son. Now, back when we read that, we didn't know which son. It just said one of his sons. Now we find out, oh, it's his oldest son, the one who's actually going to take the throne. So now the queen is the daughter of Ahab, the most wicked king who's ever ruled the northern kingdom, who was married to one of the most wicked women in the whole of the Bible. So this is what we're dealing with now. Now he's married these two people together, and now he's in charge of the country, and now it's going to wreck the country because he's put a wicked woman from a wicked set of parents together with his son. It's all mixing together, and now his son has become wicked too. Marriage is pretty darn important. So Jehoram did what was evil in the Lord's sight. But the Lord did not want to destroy David's dynasty, for he had made a promise. Sorry, I lost my thought there. For he had made a covenant with David and promised that his descendants would continue to rule, shining like a lamp forever. So God has this promise that David's line is going to be on the throne in Jerusalem. Their capital is Jerusalem. That's their capital. And even though it's not the capital of the whole country united right now, it's only the capital of Judah, it is still the capital, it is still the same throne. He wants to keep his promise. But he has a problem with Jehoram. Jehoram's a terrible king. And he is actually, we're going to see in a second here, doing the same things as Ahab, a.k.a. setting up idol worship. Jehoshaphat was famous for tearing down idol worship. He did a better job than Asa. Asa was famous for tearing down idol worship. But Jehoram is actually going to set up idol worship. And that's what we saw up here with Ahab. Not just making up ways to worship God that are not good ways, but making up new gods to worship. That's a step way too far. Okay, so God's going to step in. And when God steps in, he doesn't always step in the same way. He might step in to your life and do one thing and stop you from making this decision or stop you from going to that place, but he might step into your life in a completely different way and choose some other way to stop you, move you, change your mind, teach you something. And the way he steps in your life is different than how he steps into mine. And so when he pushes on us, when he disciplines us, when he teaches us, it is unique. It's tailored to us. And so when he steps into this king's life, it's going to be tailored to him. Do you guys remember last week we saw a map where there was 3 countries all coming at Judah, all ready to attack in one giant assembled army of 3 different nations? And it was the nation down here, the nation up here, and the nation up here, all ganging up. And we said that Edom wasn't. They all moved through the edge of Edom's territory to get at Judah. But Edom wasn't attacking. And that was critical because Edom was actually controlled by Israel at the time. They had been conquered years ago, and they'd just been under Israel's control, under Judah's control, most likely. And so they were just a vassal state. I don't know if you guys have heard that word vassal in your history books. Do you know vassal? Yes?
So is it as an example, it's kind of like how the Romans took over Jerusalem.
Yeah, basically. Where you have your throne and your government and your system over here, they have their throne and their government and their system over here.
But we're still higher.
But we take over you, and then your king only gets the same power if he listens to us. And you pay us money just for existing. But there's some benefits that go the other way. If you get attacked, we'll come defend you. But we're in charge of you. You run your own government, you run your own system, you get your own finances, but you send us money. And so you're like a whole nation under our nation. That's a vassal state. And so that's how Edom operated for years. And so we're going to see today as Jehoram rebels against God, does the same things Ahab did. Oh, really?
Shut up, don't
Talking
choose
to
the
him.
thoughts win.
God's going to basically use something that he's counting on, something that he feels certain about, to teach him that relying on God is the only reason they should have certainty. It's the only reason they should have stability and everything's at peace and everything's good. Do you guys remember what happened when the 3 nations all ganged up on Judah?
They lost.
Nope.
What?
Well, wait, who they?
The 3 nations.
Oh, okay, then yeah.
I was like, what?
Sorry, your pronoun threw me. I thought it was Judah was the they. Yeah, so the 3 nations all come against Judah. Jehoshaphat, this king, Jehoram's dad, is still king, and he prays. He takes the whole nation to the temple. They all are praying to God. They're all begging him. A prophet stands up and says, here's what you need to do if you want to beat them. They do it. They follow the instructions, and God destroys the 3 nations' army without them having to fight. They literally show up to the battle with musicians. They're playing praise and worship songs, and they arrive, and the whole army's dead on the ground. Just laying there dead. God pre-fought the battle. And all they had to do was walk to the site of the battle. Isn't that amazing? Like, God didn't have to do it that way. He could have just said, stay home, I got this. But he wanted them to witness. He wanted them to see what God was capable of and what God would do if they were following him, if they were tight with him. And Jehoshaphat was. He was sending out teachers into the land to teach the Bible to the people. He was sending out judges into the land to rightly judge disputes and issues between the people. He was tearing down idol worship places where you could go to worship other gods, tearing them down. So Jehoshaphat was totally for the Lord, and he was showing it in huge ways. And so when 3 different nations gang up an attack from the south, God just flattens them. Now, Jehoram's on the throne. Jehoram's doing basically the opposite of what Jehoshaphat was doing. And so what do you think is going to happen? Is Jehoram going to go to the temple and call the nation together and pray? Is God going to say, just do this one thing and I'll destroy everyone for you? No, it's the complete opposite. So it's the same circumstance. Like, right, one king says, oh no, I'm being attacked, and another king says, oh no, I'm being attacked. Same circumstance. Just like in your life, you might come up against the same circumstance that someone else might come up against. But your response is based on your relationship with God. How you respond, what you choose to do, how you react, what's your first reaction, what's your decision, it's all going to depend on your relationship with God. And so when one person gets hit with that circumstance and another person gets hit with that circumstance, it's not going to have the same outcome because your response is going to be different. What you choose to do, the way you choose to respond is going to be completely different based on how close you are with God. So here's what happens. Verses 12 through 15. Then Elijah the prophet wrote Jehoram this letter. This is that prophet from the north. They've never met. Elijah's been working on Ahab this whole time with some successes and, in terms of Ahab repenting or whatever, total failures. Now Ahab's dead. He died in shame. He died rebelling against God. So Elijah's got less to do, which is, probably nice. So he writes this letter. This is what the Lord, the God of your ancestor David says. You have not followed the good example of your father, Jehoshaphat, and your grandfather, King Asa of Judah. Instead, you have been as evil as the kings of Israel, which is, again, the northern kingdom. You have led the people of Jerusalem and Judah to worship idols, just as King Ahab did in Israel. And you have even killed your own brothers, men who were better than you. Ooh, that stings. So now the Lord is about to strike you, your people, your children, your wives, and all that is yours with a heavy blow. You yourself will suffer with a severe intestinal disease that will get worse each day until your bowels come out.
Ouch.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of the Hebrew here that helps, and there's a little bit of the sentence structure that doesn't. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly what disease this is. Also, medical science has basically reset itself like twice since this period here in history. So what we call diseases now and what they called diseases back then are completely different. Like it's not even related. None of the words they used for diseases back then actually relate to the words we use now. So as far as we can tell, this is our best guess based on the Hebrew, is that he was just constipated. Right? That's not that bad. Just constipated. Can't poop.
Oh,
I was like,
That's not that bad, right? But the problem is the timeline. The timeline says he got the letter 2 years before he died. Which means, if everything's literal, he was constipated for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
How is he still
When that
alive?
came out, that was a splat.
So,
Bro
when
needs
it
some
comes out,
laxatives.
he is very sick. Now, I actually know a family who had twins. There's 2 boys, and I think they were like, I want to say 2nd grade, 3rd grade, somewhere around there when this happens. Mom just notices that one of them is spending an awful lot of time in the bathroom. Starts looking into things, takes him to the doctor, they're asking questions. Turns out, twin 1, totally fine, everything's happening normal. Twin 2, cannot poop. Just
Hey,
cannot.
that's nothing to laugh about. Come on.
It's, well, at first it's kind of funny, but when you're on like week 2, it's life-threatening. Okay? You have to poop at some point. Like, you cannot just keep going without pooping. Think about the biology, right? You've got
Well,
this
now it's not funny
long
anymore.
hose
So
inside your body where your food goes through, and only like the last little bit, only like the last, you know, I mean, if you're an adult, it's less than a foot. If you're a kid, it's only like 6 inches, is meant to have poop in it. Like, the rest is all meant to be food in process. So you've got like 30 feet of food in process, and it's all in the liquid stage, right? It should not be poop filled. But what happens if you can't poop is it just keeps stacking up until eventually more and more and more of the tubes inside of you have poop in them, and they should not have poop in them. And so even before you go to like this point where you're dead and you explode, way before that, you have other problems because now you have food that is in like the rotting, smelly stage in the parts of your body that are meant to suck out nutrients. They're meant to like actually take out the good stuff and like absorb all the parts of the food you actually want to keep. And so you start accidentally absorbing things you should not be absorbing, and this can seriously make you sick in crazy ways. So you're weak, you're malnourished, you're eating, but you're not getting any nutrients because all the places that are meant to suck up nutrients just have poop sitting in front of them. So I mean, this is a really bad way to go. It's slow, it's painful, really painful. Yeah.
So wait, what if like your body just won't? Hold on. So what if it's just like you can, but you won't?
Like you decide not to?
Like you decide not to, and then it's
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to hold that in. You can try. There's a limit. There's a
Oh, I
limit.
tried one time. I went 2 weeks. No, like I went a week. and I'm
There's
like,
a lot of study that's been done in this. It's like holding your breath, right? You can hold your breath a long time, but at some point, if something's not keeping you from breathing, your body will stop you from holding your breath. You can't forcibly just sit there with your mouth shut
Oh my gosh.
until you pass out. You can't do it. Your body will make you breathe. So there's 2 parts in your brain, and one of them breathes when you're not thinking about it, right? You're not actively deciding, I will breathe right now, right? Your body just breathes for you, but you can take over with a different part of your brain, and you can decide, I'm gonna choose to control my breathing. I'm gonna do deep breaths to calm down. I'm gonna hold my breath so I can dive in the pool. Like, you make these choices, but that other part that does the automatic breathing, it has the ability to kick you out. So like, you can decide, I will hold my breath, but it will just decide, no, you won't. I'm gonna breathe right now. And there's other things like that. So you can decide to like clench your hand for a certain amount of time, and as long as you're thinking about it, you can just keep clenching your hand, and that part of your brain can actually learn from the part that's controlling, like, oh yeah, we're supposed to have the hand clenched. You can forget after a while you're clenching your hand, and your hand will just stay clenched. Because that other part of your brain just goes like, I'm pretty sure he wanted me to clench, and it'll take over. Well, with the poop thing, you can decide, I'm not gonna poop, I'm not gonna poop, I'm not gonna poop, but at some point your body's like, sorry dude, you're gonna poop. But usually when you can't, medically, like you're not able to, it's for a different reason. It's from like a blockage, it's from like a tube getting twisted. Like it's not a decision, it's not your brain not doing it right. It's typically like there's something physically wrong and the hose is clogged.
It's like a toilet.
So usually you can go in with surgery and like fix whatever that is. It's like a balloon animal. You just gotta untwist the tube and everything's fine after that. But that's not always so easy. If you're twisted for long enough, parts of your flesh start to like bond together. They like grow into one piece.
Right now.
This one's just flesh. Don't worry about it. It's not poop.
If you're like poop, stuck.
This is like normal in most middle
What?
school youth groups. This is, it's only weird for this one. So
I like
if
this.
you go 2 years, there's other consequences. Like you're gonna have internal like sepsis problems. You're gonna be sick in so many different ways. But what's interesting about this is the timing of it all. I don't know if you guys caught it on the timeline. There's actually, on a lot of these kings, there's overlaps on their reigns. And so Jehoram, you can see, actually overlaps with Jehoshaphat quite a bit. And the way that works is Jehoshaphat actually allows Jehoram to start acting as king before Jehoshaphat dies. And there's a phrase in here that sort of tips you off to that. It's not explicit. It doesn't say it outright, but it kind of hints at it. It says, verse 4, but when Jehoram had become solidly established as king. That's basically meaning when dad died. when Dad died. So Jehoshaphat's not dead. Jehoram's acting as king. And so Jehoram can basically be like there on the throne making the decisions, but then Jehoshaphat can oversee and say, oh, that's not a great idea, or let me give you some advice, or oh yeah, them, they're an old friend of mine, I'll talk to them for you, I'll introduce you to them. And so he gets to like pass off the kingdom slowly. And so all of his brothers live during that period. And as soon as Dad dies, that's when he takes out his brothers. And when he takes out his brothers and destroys all the princes and says, I'm the only one in power, I'm the only person in the royal family, no one else gets to rule but me. That's when the letter from Elijah arrives. That's when he gets sick, and that's when his reign is almost over. So he actually has about as much reign with his dad alive as he has with his dad gone. So it's a pretty big bummer, but that's basically how it works. So he's like sick for most of the rest of the time that he's on the throne after his dad dies. He commits this horrible sin, just killing all of his brothers, just murdering them. And then he gets sick, and he just lives as a sick man. And he has to put his son, who's probably too young to reign at this point, on the throne because he knows he's dying. And he knows that if another kingdom sees a weak king, physically weak, for whatever reason, they don't care why. You could lose a leg in battle, you could be sick inside your guts, they don't care. If they see a weak king, they treat you as weak militarily, they treat you as weak politically. So he puts his son on the throne, like, quick, we gotta get a strong young guy on the throne. I can't do this anymore. So he is now ruling slightly as he's dying slowly, painfully, horribly, and kind of in an embarrassing way. The way you guys are like grossed out about not being able to poop, it's embarrassing too. So as he's like the king on the throne, he's got a crown, he's got all this majesty and glory. Also, no, he doesn't. He's kind of lost all of his majesty and glory. Anyone who finds out what kind of sickness he has is going to mock him. They're going to ridicule him. Oh yeah, I heard about the king. Can't poop. And this is going to spread, and eventually it reaches other countries. And so then we get this final punishment. Someone's going to rise up, and they're going to strike Judah. All right. Enough bouncing back and forth. Verse 16. So we got that letter from Elijah, spells out the whole future of the nation. And then we get it happening. Verse 16. Then the Lord stirred up the Philistines and the Arabs who lived near the Ethiopians to attack Jehoram. They marched against Judah, broke down its defenses, and carried away everything of value in the royal palace, including the king's sons and his wives. Only his youngest son, Ahaziah, was spared. After all this, the Lord struck Jehoram with an incurable intestinal disease. The disease grew worse and worse, and at the end of 2 years, it caused his bowels to come out, and he died in agony. His people did not build a great funeral fire to honor him as they had done for his ancestors. This was a normal thing for all the other kings, but not for him. Jehoram was 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years. No one was sorry when he died.
That's so sad.
It's so bad. They buried him in the city of David, but not in the royal cemetery.
Like, oh, we're just gonna bury him here, but not there, because, like, you know.
So
He's not
so
dead.
typically when you get buried in the Jewish culture back then, it's a 2-stage burial. They would start out with you in a stone chamber, kind of like we see Jesus getting buried after the crucifixion. There's this stone chamber they would put you in, and you'd be laid out in there, and the stone would be closed whenever it was hot out. You'd open it like in the morning, and then maybe you'd open again in the evening, and so you never let the heat get into the chamber. So it was almost like what we do now with morgues. We put bodies in a cold place until we're ready to do something with them. We're gonna, put them out in a casket for an open funeral, or we're gonna bury them, or whatever we're gonna do. But we keep them kind of almost frozen, like refrigerated, until we're ready to do something with them. They would do the same thing. They'd put you in the stone underground chamber, and then people could come visit. They could say their goodbyes. Maybe they'd put something nice smelling with you. They'd put some art project with you. They'd do whatever they were going to do before they were really ready to bury you. And this would keep you from rotting rapidly. This would keep you from smelling up the place. And so people could come visit while you were still chilled and not so ugly looking. Imagine doing that with someone who died from explosive gut disease. Like,
Why?
you wouldn't, like from day one, like as soon as he's dead, he stinks. From day one, as soon as he stinks, he's ugly. Like that is not a good look, having your guts on the outside. Not a good look. So I get it. Like, even if they love the guy, this is not the kind of funeral you want. You don't want a funeral where the guy's poop is just like, just shooting out of his guts all over the. I don't want to go to that open casket.
I do.
Like that's maybe like
experience.
yeah. It's pretty grotesque. It's pretty dark. So they don't want to do it anyways. But then no one even likes the guy.
Oh
and then
my
you
gosh.
take a little piece.
Ew,
of
my
the
God.
guy's
Yeah, like
Start-
they
start-
just
start
closed
your
that
mouth.
room in the palace. That room is never used again. Condemned.
The caution tape's all over it.
Do not cross. Morticians only. Yeah, so not a good look. But even if they loved him, they weren't going to do it. And then they don't love him. No one likes this guy. He was
Well,
a
also,
horrible
who
king.
lets you carry that?
He got the nation
Micah
attacked
does.
twice. Edom rebels and comes up and attacks them. The Philistines join up with the Arabs. They attack them. It's just bad all over. Bad all over. No one likes this guy. So he's buried. But not even with the other kings. So when they were done, you're done cooling off in the cave. Everyone said their goodbyes, like the funeral's over or whatever. And they would either cremate you in certain instances, but most often what they would do is they'd take all of your bones and they would put it in a bone box. And they called it an ossuary. And so they would just have, like, it was almost like between a full burial like we do today with a coffin and cremation. It's something like in between. Because a cremation, your whole remains are very compact at that point, very, very small. Regular coffin burial, it's huge. It's bigger than you are, right? They would do ossuary, so somewhere in between. It's all your bones nicely set into a box, bigger than what your ashes would take up, but way smaller than a full casket. And so that box would then get buried with all your bones in it. And so we see that reflected in a lot of verses in the Old Testament when it talks about Jacob dying. He says, "Take my bones and bury them with my forefathers back in Israel," because he dies in Egypt. Remember, Joseph gets sold as a slave. They all move down to Egypt. Jacob moves down there too, and then he dies down there. And on his deathbed, he says, "Take my bones and bury them in Egypt." And Joseph basically says the same thing too.
Joseph's story traumatized me as a kid.
Really? Being sold as a slave and like
No,
wrongfully
because the
convicted
fake
and-
blood part I will not forget.
Wait, fake blood. Oh,
That
on his
part.
cloak.
Yeah, I was like traumatized by it.
Really? That's the part
Because
that
I
gets you.
watched like the like
didn't have any
live
older
action
brothers.
movie. No,
Ah.
but it still traumatized me like because it looked so real. It's like
Oh,
blood,
gee.
soul of slavery. What? And didn't like Moses fell into this pit or something like that?
And Moses did not fall into a pit.
I don't know. Something with the pit.
Joseph did.
Oh, sorry, Joseph.
thrown.
Yeah, Joseph.
Joseph was thrown into a
Joseph.
pit. Yeah, he didn't just like trip in there, and his brother's like, "Wow, we're not going to save you." They took him and threw him in.
That's why it was so traumatizing for me.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then, like, I don't know, the whole thing was going on. It was just like,
It's a bad story, but the point of that story is really interesting because he's a picture of Jesus.
yeah.
His own kinsmen, his own family are the ones that turn on him and are seeking to cause his downfall,
Yeah,
right? And then he rises up again. He comes to power through their curses, through their scorn, through their punishment. He actually rises up to power. And that's exactly what happens with Jesus.
I get emotional whenever like Joseph talks about like his younger brother.
Oh yeah, Benjamin.
That always got me emotional.
Yeah. It's a powerful story. It really is. The
But
fact that
yet
that's right there in the very
traumatizing at
first
the same
book, I think really sets the tone for the Bible because it shows you how much power are in these stories. They aren't just stories. They connect with our souls. They're real. They're actual things that have happened, but they're things that
story traumatized me too.
they're powerful. All right, so he gets buried. No one respects him, and so this comes back to our final like conclusive message in this. Do you guys remember the message, the lesson at the start? Call on God's mercy, or else you'll get His fairness. What would be fair for an evil king who just completely avoids God, rebels against God, sets up idol worship, causes the whole nation to worship fake gods on purpose? This is not an accident. This is like, it's not like people were doing it in secret. He didn't put a stop to it because he didn't know about it. He encouraged it. He helped build the places to go do this stuff. What would be fair in that instance?
Death.
Death. I think that would be fair. You're causing the whole nation to go against God. That would be fair. So you could ask for mercy, and we saw that several kings ago. There was a king who didn't destroy those places of idol worship, and when the punishment was announced through a prophet, just like with Jehoram, that king said, "It's our fault. We deserve the punishment. We're sorry, God." He falls on God's mercy. He doesn't even say, "Forgive us." He doesn't think he deserves forgiveness. He doesn't deserve it.
Read the Bible. It says everyone deserves forgiveness.
It doesn't say anyone deserves. None of us deserve. That's too strong a word.
Well,
Deserve
Micah.
forgiveness. You'd have to earn it somehow. So he knew he didn't deserve
that's my bad.
God's forgiveness. So he just apologized and said, he confessed, we did the wrong thing. We absolutely deserve this punishment. And God said, I won't fully destroy you. So he let the punishment happen, but he made sure to cut it off before it was like a full destruction and everyone was gone. And so that is mercy, and that's the crazy thing. Fairness was they all should have died. That would have been fair. Mercy was they didn't all die. They didn't all receive the punishment. So with this king, Jehoram, fairness would be a full punishment, a full destruction. Mercy would be anything less than that. It could be 99% of the punishment or 0% of the punishment. It doesn't matter. Something less than 100 is mercy. So my question is, how much punishment do I deserve?
Out of it.
Out of it? What does that mean?
All of it.
All of it. Oh, okay, there we go. I deserve all of it. That's the wild part. Anything I've done warrants all that God could do. I've rebelled against him. I've chosen things that he does not want me to choose. I've walked into things knowingly, not just mistakes, not just oopsies. I have knowingly walked into things that he does not want me to do, so I deserve punishment. I deserve it. That would be fair. Fairness from God looks like justice. And justice to a criminal looks like punishment. Does that make sense? Like, I'm the criminal. So fairness to me is punishment to me. A lot of times little kids say that phrase. That's not fair. How many little kids know what fair is?
One.
It's just like a word they use. Like, that's not fair.
It means I don't like that.
Yeah. Like,
it doesn't mean
please stop.
that's not fair. They're wrong. Yeah.
This was like a year ago. One time I gave Elena milk.
I forgot about it.
Alonzo milk. So say this was the cup.
Yeah.
I gave Elena more milk than him.
Oh no.
And then she's like, that's not fair. And
Wait,
then
does she want less? I'm confused.
it'll build up, and then she's like, that's not fair. The whole time she thought Alonzo's cup was hers.
Oh my gosh.
And then, like, the other day she came up to me, she's like, you always gotta give people the same amount of things. Sharing is caring. And then she'll run off. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh. I was definitely that kid. I wanted everything to be exactly even. I grew up in a family with 3 kids, and we were all pretty close in age. 2 years between me and my older sister, 3 years between me and my younger sister. And so pretty quick, my younger sister grew out of like the baby years, and we were just kids, all 3 of us. And so most things from the store, from a restaurant, in a package do not come in 3s. Like, that is incredibly unusual that anything comes in 3s. They always come in like even numbers, or like
4.
maybe 5 sometimes, but typically in even numbers. 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack.
40-pack.
Right, so eventually you do like a really high number, you can start to divide by 3, but generally speaking, that's not how it works. And so just like the simplest things, a candy bar, a granola bar, right? Just like the simplest little things, I had to make sure it was like a dead even third for each kid. And we came up with strategies because, I don't know if I rubbed off on my sisters or they just had it naturally, but like they also cared. Not as much as me, I don't think, but they cared. And so we came up with ways like, how do you precisely cut things in thirds? And cutting things in thirds is hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever tried. Like, that's probably one of the hardest things to cut, is even thirds on things. A pie, a candy bar, whatever. Half is easy, right?
It's like
Split it in half, so easy. Even quarters is not that hard, right? You just cut it in half, you cut those in half. Super easy. Cut it in thirds, so we figured out, like, you cut it in half, and then you cut each half with 1/3 broken off. And then you give the 2/3 of halves to one person, and they each keep 2/3 of the half. And like, you sort of you make it a little easier to cut. And like, we had all these dumb strategies, and we were super concerned about fairness. And little kids have that, but they don't really get what fairness is. Because like, real fairness is, you pay for your own candy bar. You don't have money, you don't get a candy bar. Like, that's raw. That is raw, unfiltered fairness. But that's not how kids see it. And I think even as we grow up and we become adults, when it's between us and God, we still don't see it the right way when it deals with us. When it deals with us, we say to God, God, it's not fair. How come you let this happen? How come you let my friend die? How come I didn't get the job I wanted? How come I didn't get the grade I wanted? I tried so hard on that test. How come I didn't get first place in the tournament? How come I didn't get to go do the thing I wanted to go do? God, that's not fair. God, that's not fair. And to that, I would just say, when we say that phrase, that's not fair, we generally don't have a clue what fair would be in that circumstance. We really don't. We're totally detached. We have so many layers of self-interest and pride, and it just creates blindness. We don't know what fairness looks like. All right, so this verse is in Micah 6. It's Micah 6:8. And it's a really cool verse. It says, "Know, O people, the Lord has told you what is good." Notice it says know, N-O, not K-N-O-W. What does that tell you right off the bat?
No, Micah. My Skittles.
I gave those to Micah. I bought that with my own money.
What does that mean? If it starts out with a no.
Fairness right there.
Don't do it. Fairness.
But it says no,
Sharing is, I
people.
forgot. Sharing is caring.
What if I said no to you right now?
You're like someone
What would that
in
mean?
this TV show.
That means the last thing you were thinking or saying,
No.
I'm saying it's wrong.
No.
Right? If I start out my statement to you, no, Victoria, right? I'm telling you you're wrong. So what does that mean in context of the verse?
Deal.
You're wrong.
Yeah, so whatever they're about to say, whatever Micah is about to tell the people of Israel, they thought the opposite. Do you get it? They were actively doing or thinking the opposite way of what he's about to instruct them in. That's why it has to start with a no, because they were backwards from this. Do you get it? Okay, so one more time. No, O people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this is what he requires of you, which tells you they thought this was not the requirement. They thought this was not what God wanted or cared about. They disagreed. Do what is right, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. I feel like people should get that. Yeah.
The verse right before it. Should we sacrifice our firstborn children to pay for our sins?
Yeah. He's being a little more specific
Your
in the book of
firstborn,
Micah.
Caleb.
I'm playing it a little more generally, but yeah. They were doing the worst kind of idol worship in Micah's time, which is years after what we're reading in this chapter, 2 Chronicles. But it's the same gods. It's Baal, it's Ashtoreth.
Yeah.
These are the same gods they're worshiping at
Do
the end
people
of
still
2
worship
Chronicles.
Baal, like, to this day?
Wait, Daniel, was
I don't-
Micah in the Bible cool?
Think so. Not named Baal,
I don't
anyways.
think so.
But the idea of child sacrifice is still really prevalent in this culture today.
Yeah.
We have abortion clinics all over the country,
It's stupid.
and the idea
Well,
is
yeah, that's the point.
that
Yeah.
I can make my life better by sacrificing my child. That's the core idea. My life is better if I can take them out of the picture. And that's essentially the way that worship worked back then. My life is made better. Now, they thought there was a God involved. They thought there was a supernatural spiritual being that was going to do the trade for them. It was going to take away the child and give them a better life. But we're basically saying the same thing now. We're just taking the Baal, the fake God thing out of it and just saying, no, automatically. No spiritual being required. Just take your child out of the picture and your life will be better. It's kind of a stupider lie. Now, you might not think that these fake gods are real, and that's good, but at least there's a logical mechanism that would take your child out of the picture and make your life better.
This makes you the God.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now you're Baal. Yeah, it's pretty stupid, but it's even more than it's stupid, it's dark. Because you're equating someone else's life, an innocent person's life, a helpless person's life, with your life being a bit better. Their whole life for a slight improvement in yours. And you're saying these are equal things. I can trade these freely.
Baby.
That, so I can have more time on my hands.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Baby on my hands.
Now, don't get me wrong, babies are hard work. When people
but
say,
they're so
I
cute.
couldn't finish college if I have a kid.
They're
Well,
so
I
cute.
kind of get that.
You
Because,
look
like,
at her
oh
like,
my gosh, the
oh
time
my
it takes to raise a
goodness,
baby.
you're so
Oh my
cute.
gosh, a lot of time.
Well, you take a lot of work, but you're just so cute.
Cuteness isn't worth it, though.
Yes, it is.
No, it's trust me, it's not.
It is.
The whole life
Lord,
you're
horrible.
raising, the blessing from God that whole life is not the cuteness. The cuteness is with this one little gemstone like encrusted on
She's
the
like
side
so
of the whole
cute.
package
She's
there.
Ooh.
But like,
Package.
it's icing on the cake, right?
She is.
Because a lot of the time the cuteness is screaming at you, and it's not as cute.
Oh, see? That's so cute.
You guys want to hear like one of the dark,
very
tragic
cute.
truths of raising a little tiny cute baby like that?
What?
Poop.
I don't smell like
Victoria.
Emily.
What?
I don't smell like Emily.
You feel like baby.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
But my baby knows that.
Yeah.
And so like I can try and do things like put her down for like naps and stuff, and she doesn't respond the same to me as she does to Emily.
That's because like.
'Cause I don't
the
smell like
mom.
anybody. So if
She gave
I
birth
hold her and I'm rocking her and she's got the passy, her eyes are shut. Like she doesn't know which set of arms she's in, right? No, she knows. But if I like take something of Emily's and like just kind of jam it there, some clothing, then like she responds better.
I slowly.
The other night I was trying for like 30 minutes
We
and
know
she's
who's
just
the
getting
favorite.
madder and madder and madder at me. And Emily says, "Okay, let me try." And I hand her to Emily and like the crying just stops. And she just like snuggles into Emily and just goes.
So like basically.
Well, she has a
what
favorite
Mike is trying-
parent now.
It's total favoritism,
Mom.
but like it's not conscious. It's not like she's
calms me
just
down.
deciding.
It calms me down.
See, she's even saying, I like mom better.
Oh yeah. I swear, the only word that ever comes out when she's crying is "ma." That's it.
She's from Boston.
Do it.
So she's not angry right now, but
I can make her angry.
No, Alan.
thanks.
Oh,
But
okay.
I could actually try it.
See?
But-
You already are.
Anywho.
Wait, how'd
So
you say
they
her
had the
first
complete backwards idea. They had decided that what God wanted was mindless, show up at church, do the couple things He asked me to do while I'm there, and that makes me good with God. They've decided in Micah's time, I can literally go 6 days a week and worship Baal or Ashtra or whatever. 6 days a week and go do all this stuff. I can sacrifice my own children. I can kill babies
Okay, don't
6
say
days
that.
a
That
week.
traumatizes me.
And I can show up at the temple
I like
on
that.
Saturday and bring a goat or bring a lamb or whatever and like burn some incense and bring some grain offering and like that'll make God happy. And then I can go back to my life for 6 days a week and do this other stuff that He's told me not to do. And that's fine. God's cool with that. I can just show up on Sunday, do the church thing, sing a song, read a Bible verse. Cool, we're all good, God, yeah. And then like go live my life for 6 days a week. And like that's fine. God likes that. That's what they decided. And so He starts out with no.
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 No, girly.
Imagine what that looks like
Girl, bye.
if it was your parents.
My legs weren't fat.
If you actually decided 6 days a week, I'm gonna swear at my parents, not listen to my parents,
Where are your parents?
come home when I feel like it, never tell them where I'm going, and then 1 day a week,
That's exactly.
I'll just decide to be nice, listen to them, talk nice to them, respect them. I'll do all my chores for the whole week on that 1 day, and I'll just do anything they ask me to do for that day, that 1 day a week. And then 6 days a week, go right back to the other thing. That'll be fine, right?
Yep.
We'll have a good relationship, right? I did everything they asked that day. That's great. Who cares about what I do the other 6 days of the week?
Mhm.
How would that go? Would you still be living at your house a week later?
No.
Like, that would not go well. There's no way you can keep up the relationship with
My
your
parents would
parents.
just
like,
lock me
if
in
you
my
start
room
dating
for like a
someone,
The base.
and
Like,
1 day a
the
week
base.
you're close with
I
them,
live in my mom's basement.
1 day a week you talk to your girlfriend, you talk to your boyfriend. Like 1 day a week you go out with them on a date. 1 day a week you text them back. 1 day a week you actually are nice to them. And then 6 days a week you cheat on them. You don't text them. If you see them, you just say nasty things to them. And like, and then 1 day a week you go right back. And you're nice, and you say things to them that they want to hear, and you take them out to a nice place, and you text them back when they text you. And then for 6 days a week, you're gross. 6 days a week, you're hateful. 6 days a week,
You don't understand.
you don't answer their texts. You don't pick up the phone when they call. What the heck would that do to your relationship? You'd be gone, right?
You'd be gone
You'd be
in
broken up
1 second.
before the week was over. And so, for some reason,
Girl, bye.
when it comes to God, people think they can do this. For some reason, they think, with God, I can just do whatever I want and I'll keep getting His mercy. I'll never get His fairness. I'll never get His justice. Yeah, Alan.
When I was younger, and I wanted something from my parents,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, okay, I'll ask them in 2 days, and I'll make sure I'm really
For 2 days,
good
you're
at
just
it.
the best.
Make sure I'm, because like if I only do it for 1 day, they're gonna think I'm gonna try and trick them.
Oh
there's
my
an
gosh.
extra day
The
thrown in there.
tactics.
So then I would always wait 2 or 3 days and be as good as possible.
Right, they've gotten over the initial shock of how good Alan is.
And then there's another day, and then I would ask them the question.
But that makes sense actually, because when my kids are super duper uber nice, it kind of feels weird when they weren't 5 minutes ago. It's like, what's happening? But yeah, if you keep doing it for 2 days solid, I'm just going to be in a good mood. there's no way around it. I'm just going to be a happy man. That's interesting. I got to look out for that.
Yeah, I won't tell your kids that. But
Thanks, Alex. Thanks. They'll probably figure it out. later.
we'll still talk about Bluey.
Oh yeah,
Love Blue. I love Blue.
Bluey's probably like the best show on there.
They end up drowning.
Oh my gosh, they just saw tickle crabs for the first time yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
They saw
like,
what?
this
Yeah,
last week.
I learned
Tickle
that.
crabs.
I learned that.
I think
you don't
like
know
it's one of the
each
best moments in
other
television
No.
when all of a sudden there's a doll thrown on a porch and the camera flips and mom's in a tree and just goes, "Gah!" It's just like so good.
It's so funny.
Mom in a tree
I love it's like the one
suddenly turned
episode,
into a
like,
seagull. It's amazing. If you don't get it, you gotta watch it. It's just that
Yeah,
good.
it's super funny.
It's super hilarious. Because like the part where she's trying to untangle the thing for like 3 hours, that's real life. That's a parent's real life. That's my job. I am the untangler.
I love
I
their
get
accents.
home from like working 9 hours and like there's 2 slinkies on my chair. I can't even sit down. They're both like, and no one says anything. No one says, "Dad, can you fix my slinky?" They just know. Like if they leave the slinky on my chair, eventually they're gonna get back a fixed slinky. So, what does God actually care about?
Twinkies.
Showing up on Sunday? Showing up and like doing the couple things that people
Spending
do at church?
time with him.
Well, look at the real list here. This is what
No.
Micah says. Do what is right. He actually cares what you're doing the rest of the week.
And walk home.
Okay? Love mercy. This is so important. Jesus brings this up multiple times. You want his mercy? You want him to not treat you fairly? To actually treat you better than you deserve? It's a really simple concept. Treat other people that way. Treat other people better than they actually deserve. Don't treat them with fairness, treat them with mercy. Go above fairness. That little instinct inside that says that's not fair, sometimes you can put that to work and you can go like, I know this isn't fair, but I'm gonna give that person extra. I know this isn't fair, but I'm gonna let that person be forgiven in my heart even though I don't want to. I know this isn't fair, but I'm gonna let them go first even though they have no right to go first. But I'm gonna let them. And so you actually look for that instinct inside you that says, that's not fair, and then you go like, do the opposite. And you give someone extra. You give something to someone that they don't earn. They haven't earned it, they don't deserve it. You just give it to them anyways. And then the last one, to walk humbly with your God. This is so critical to all the rest because you do the rest of the stuff, you try and do what's right every day, you try and be merciful to people who don't deserve it. Eventually you're gonna run out of patience. You're gonna run out of motivation. You're going to get sick of the person who you keep being merciful to. You're going to get sick of doing what is right again and again and again, but people are continuing to be evil to you. It's going to bother you after a while that you're so nice and everyone's so mean. But if you're humbly walking with God and he's the reason that you're doing all that stuff, he's infinite. And so as your motivation, he is an infinite motivation. In your relationship with him, he is infinitely more good to you than you can be to other people. And so if you keep relying on him as the reason that you go and do all that stuff he cares about, you won't run out of the patience, you won't run out of the motivation, you won't run out of the ability to keep on being way more nice to other people than they ever are to you. If you're just doing it because you're hoping to change them, you're going to run out of oomph. You're going to run out of motivation because some people won't change. Micah. Stop it.
What am I doing?
Poking him and talking to him.
I'm not talking to him.
Lies.
Well,
You're lying right now.
I'm not
he was
deaf,
talking to me and I was
I
answering.
was not talking to you.
Don't
It
talk
was
to me
his
about
fault.
talking to him. So rely on him, make him the motivation. And as you do this, you do have to be humble. There's a big chunk of this that is just simply deciding, I'm putting God on top, I'm putting other people under him, and I'm putting me in last place. That's a huge component of the whole thing. When you go out every week and do 6 days of your own thing and finally come to church one day and decide to make God first for a day, the biggest source problem here is that you decided to be first the other 6 days. That's the core flaw. When people were sacrificing their children to have a better life, or now, today, when people are sacrificing their children to have a better life, the core issue is they've put themselves first. They've decided, I am the most important thing in my universe. And so this last little line here, walking humbly with your God, is so ridiculously critical. It is so important to the whole equation working. And that's what we see with the king. Jehoram, he got to be king before his dad died. He could have learned so much from his dad. But instead, what does he do the second his dad dies? He kills every one of his brothers, all the princes, so that no one can contest the throne. No one could possibly steal it from him. What does that tell you about the guy? He was insecure.
prideful.
He was self-centered. Right? Think about that in your context.
Loving.
I'm waiting for mom and dad to leave so I can finally take advantage of my siblings.
I don't have siblings.
That's kind of gross, right? Like, that's a pretty nasty way to live. I just wish my parents weren't here to see so I could do horrible things to my siblings. Like, that's terrible. That is an ucky, evil, gross heart. And that's the core issue. You got to start walking humbly with your God. Lower yourself in your own perspective. Start putting other people first, above yourself, and God first, above them. And then you can actually start to do these things. All right, so bad examples all throughout this chapter, bad outcomes, but it is basically a cautionary tale. What happens when you don't fall on God's mercy, when you don't go to Him continually? You get His fairness.
That's true.
What?
I said also what happens
Also,
if
what
you don't
happens
sleep for 2 years.
for 2 years?
If you don't what? Poop for 2 years? Yes, also that, yes. Poor Victoria. She's like, I just got done with that.
I'll send you text about it later.
No, I'm gonna block you.
I already blocked
This
you
is the
before,
new,
right?
like, the game.
Yeah, you keep unadding me for some reason.
This is the new the game,
Yeah,
like,
'cause
you know,
you
you
keep
just lost
You're
the
like,
game.
mwah, 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 whenever you play.
Well,
What?
Yeah, Micah keeps doing that on Fortnite.
you just block it.
Yeah,
Well, I already
probably
did.
should. No, you unadded me. You didn't block me.
No,
one
I also
blocked
blocked you. I also reported
Why
you.
would you? Why would
I'm
you
gonna
add
report
blocking
you for
other
sexual
people?
harassment.
That doesn't make sense. I feel like this is the new pulling the pigtails. You gotta be careful.
That's not fair.
I used to do that too.
Wait, Micah does have pigtails sometimes.
He does. I pull the pigtails. My scrunchies now.
All right.
Oh no.
Okay, so that's it. That's it for today. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for your mercy that we do not deserve. And we ask, Lord, that you would enable us, through the mercy you show us, to show that mercy to other people. Help us to be ambassadors of your mercy and your grace, to show love to people in that very God-like way, that very Jesus Christ-like way, where it doesn't matter if they deserve it, we do it because we love them. Help us to just shine that treatment of people on the world so that they see not only the people who receive it from us, not only the people who are receiving mercy from us and, you know, favor they haven't earned, but that the rest of the world, just people on the outskirts, people that are onlookers, would get to see that. And they would be shown a glimpse of you in the process. We know, Lord, based on what we see in Jesus and your apostles in Scripture and so many of the countless Christians through history whose stories are recorded for us, that when people act like you, the world takes notice. And so we're just asking, Lord, that you would give us those opportunities and you would empower us as we walk with you to be that way in front of people. Not for our glory, not so we can look amazing, but so that we can lift you up, so we can make your name great, so that we can bring you the glory. So Lord, I'm just asking you would show us those opportunities this week. Wake us up in those moments so that we can do that. We can shine your light everywhere we go. Help us to learn from these examples in chapter 21 today, that we would watch our fathers, our mothers, those parent-like figures. I know some of our families are bigger and stranger than just one mom, one dad, but that you would show us amazing examples, and then you would help us to learn from those so we don't have to learn the same lessons over again. To learn those lessons they've already learned, but learn them the hard way. Help us to learn them the easy way, where we just listen, or we just watch. So we can go into the next generation as the next wave of moms and dads and start raising people in your love and in your light right off the bat. We love you, Jesus, and we thank you for all that mercy you've shown us that we don't deserve. You're an amazing God. With our eyes closed, with our heads bowed, if there's anyone here today that needs to say to Jesus, please forgive me, take away all my sin, I would just ask you to raise up your hand and I'll help you out with the words. You can talk to him. You can ask for that forgiveness. The mercy that Jehoram avoided, you can have. You can go right into the throne room because of what Jesus did on the cross, and you can ask for God's mercy. And because of the price that he paid in our place, you will have it. You put your faith in him and you can have that forgiveness you don't deserve. He bought it for you. Anyone here today want to do that? Just raise up your hand. We love you, Lord. We thank you for that forgiveness. We pray that you would help us to reach out into our little bubbles of the world, into the people we know, and bring them closer to you. In your name, Jesus. Amen. We love you
Why'd
guys.
You put a bug on my leg.
Please sign up for fundraisers, for camp, for all the
I
doodads.
don't know, but I don't like it.
Camp sign-ups should be coming at the end of the week. Me and Jared, our families are finally all well, so we're going to try and meet up and get the details hashed out, get our costs figured out. And
For
you guys-
what?
For high school camp, for middle school camp.
How? I thought high school camp.
Between
My
high
best friend
school
was
and
just
between
kicked
Jared and
off Alan's leg.
our family,
Because I don't
someone's been
like
sick for
bugs
like 3
crawling
weeks.
on me.
So we haven't got to meet and hash out details, but we're going to try and get it done.
It's too bad.
Thank you guys for helping clean up. School should be back in session, so it actually matters today. You guys did it last week before I could stop you, because you're awesome like that. But they weren't even.
Well, I do it every week.
Good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have.
So
Hey, look, someone won the phone bucket.
Who could
And it's me.
Alan, you faithful rock person.
Which, here's the thing. You know how
Wait, Alex, did you always win the phone bucket and always get a snack from the snack bar?
You know what I realized? You wouldn't be as confused when I had the hello, my name is on it.
That's true.
So, I stole a few of those just so you know.
Alan, since you always get a snack from the snack bar, okay?
Alan confessing
Nice
his
of you to
crime.
confess.
Name tags are probably one of the least stealable items I can think of. They're just giving.
I didn't think you cared, though.
You silly.
You were very talkative today.
Yes.
feeling chatty. My goodness.
When I get mad on phone, I'll make weird noises.
Okay, I'm
Like,
gonna
I'll just put
do
it
a
up to my
call
mouth
with
and
Dave
start
for
making weird
Walton.
noises.
I do that all the time.
And then Victoria thinks I'm
Which
just
you-
being weird for no reason.
In
Should
an
be at
hour and a
home.
half?
Yeah, it could be at home. That's fine. So I'll just be at
No,
home.
he's not.
Did you hear
Um,
Daddy?
I'm serious for his birthday. No,
Right after that?
Wait, he's still have the coffee.